So, welcome back. My name is Shauna. This is Kalana Yoga. And in today's video, we are going to be breaking down the pose of child's pose. Now, you might be thinking that child's pose is such a basic posture. Why does this need a dedicated posture breakdown? Well, in fact, child's pose is one of the most delicious poses that we can practice, especially if we do it regularly, like on a daily basis. But there's a lot that actually goes into it if we break it down bit by bit, which is what we're going to do in this video. And there's a lot of ways to get a little bit more juice out of child's pose while we're in it. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start on the back of our mat. It doesn't really matter where you are as long as you're kind of in the middle and you have some room. Now, first things first, when you're coming down into child's pose, you have options for where you want to place your knees and how you want to place them. There's two different benefits that you can achieve through either option. So, with your knees closer together, you are going to get a lot more of a rounded back. And so you're going to feel a little bit more of a low back stretch. Whereas when your knees are wider apart, you're going to get a little longer in the back and you're going to feel the stretch a little bit more in your hips. So this is the first way to customize child's pose, is deciding how far apart you want your knees. So I recommend alternating, trying some different options. If you're kind of first getting up in the morning, it might feel really nice to just do legs together, get that nice stretch out of your low back. But if you are maybe finishing up a workout, getting back from a run, that long, strong back can feel amazing in that stretch in those inner hips. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my knees open wide. And when you're in child's pose, reach your fingers as far forward as you can. So if you're not practicing this with me, then maybe consider trying it with me right now. Come into your child's pose and get as far forward in your hands and notice where you're feeling this. Yes, you might be feeling it in the thighs, in the hips, in the knees. Where in your low back are you feeling it? Where in your middle or upper back are you feeling it? How does this feel in your shoulders? Are you noticing any tightness in the neck? So just take a moment to really scan the body from your fingertips all the way down to your toes. Now, child's pose is absolutely a resting posture. So feel free to enjoy it and not put any effort into it. But if you wanted to, you could make this more active. Perhaps reaching your fingertips even further forward, you might feel your spine begin to get a little longer. You might notice that you're really feeling this in your lat muscles, the spot behind your shoulder blades or below your shoulder blades. Can you relax your ears, or rather, can you relax your shoulders away from your ears and find softness in the neck? Now, notice what your hands are doing. Are they resting? That's wonderful. Another option is to tent your fingers. Bring your palms up and lift the wrists off the mat and come up to the very tips of your fingertips. And allow yourself to get a little more active through the arms. Plug your shoulders back into their sockets and notice how that feels in the lats and the mid to upper back. Can you begin to roll your shoulders slightly in a circle in one direction and maybe switching that direction? Notice how that feels in the shoulders and upper back. Amazing. Let's relax the hands back down and let's walk our hands over to one side of the mat. I'm going to go left. So when you walk your hands over to the left side of your mat, notice this really deep stretch along the right side body. Now we can really make this a little more intentional by pulling our right hip back towards our right heel. You could tent the fingers and see how that feels here. You can really press the palms into the mat
And notice how that activates the lats a little bit more. Notice how this feels on the right side of the body. And then walk your hands back through center and move them to the right side of your mat so you can feel this pose on the left side of your body. So once again, really pull that left hip back towards the hip socket, back towards the left heel. Feel the long stretch along the left side of your body. Allow yourself to feel balanced. Make sure you're balanced on both sides. You know, you're not feeling lopsided. And when you're ready, come back to center. Does your spine feel a little longer? Do you notice that now that you've been in this pose for a few minutes, that you are getting a little deeper into your hips and your inner thighs? Maybe you want to adjust your knee placement now. Let's actually do that. Let's bring our knees together and notice this version of child's pose is even more relaxing and restorative. So still resting the forehead down, soften through the arms. And if your shoulders are ever feeling a little toasted, maybe after a workout or a lot of postures where your hands are down on the mat and you're putting weight on the shoulders, bring your arms all the way down to your side and allow the shoulder blades to just open up. Allow the shoulders to kind of flop towards the outer edges of your mat. And allow the upper back right below the neck to soften and relax. Can you feel weightless in this pose? Wonderful. Let's try one more variation. Now, this pose is technically usually called like a puppy dog pose, but I think it's a fantastic option and really similar to child's pose. So we can have our knees kind of open or closed. It doesn't really matter. We're going to come into our standard child's pose with our arms open. But now lift your hips up so they're about the stacked right above the knees. And then walk your hands even further forward. And now melt your sternum toward your mat, just allowing the chest to reach toward the ground. Notice how this opens up the front of your upper chest. Maybe walk the hands even further forward. Maybe tent the fingers and see how this feels. Notice how this really bends the back a lot more and lets you get a little deeper into the front of your chest. Notice how this stretches through the abs and the belly. This definitely feels more active, but when you're looking for certain stretches, this can feel amazing, especially in those shoulders. All right, slowly walk yourself out. Come back to sit on your heels. So I'd love to know, are you surprised at some of the ways that you can customize or really deepen the child's pose posture? It does seem really simple, but you can make it a lot more effective or intentional through some of these customizations. If you're interested in learning more of these really basic postures, I do have a free guide that I will link underneath this video. And if you're not already, I'd love to invite you to join my free Skool community, the Yoga Habits Collective, where we learn how to embrace more of these yoga habits into our daily life. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye for now.